so much. I am so excited to have you here today. Let me tell you a little bit about our next guest. Dr. Pat Hanson is a seasoned health and sexuality educator, a public speaker, a workshop facilitator, and a writer. Her books chronologue her colorful life. Her first book, Invisible Grandparenting, Leaving a Legacy of Love, Whether or Not You Can Be There, is this book here. It's been out for about 6 years, but today she's here to talk about her newest book, and that is this one, In Search of Stillness, My Final Frontier. Pat, it is wonderful to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us briefly about your new book.
My new book is written from journals of my own, and it's about my lifelong search for peace of mind, for being calm, for being confident, for not being stress-filled. And it documents from when I went through a 10-day Vipassana meditation course and could not speak for 10 days and was in sequestered rooms with just men and women separately. And it goes through all of these sort of new age encounter group types of experiences that I've had in my own words.
I read about that workshop in there. Sounded like it was a pretty amazing experience.
Yes, and it was not easy to do for someone like me, who is type A and social and talks a lot. And it did help me focus, and whenever I get stressed, even when I'm driving, I do the Vipassana relaxation of each part of my body, and it does calm me down.
Excellent. That was my next question is, did writing this book actually give you practice and help you find that elusive stillness?
It did, temporarily at a time. Yeah, it comes and it goes, the peace of mind. Because that's why I call it the elusive concept of peace of mind. Yeah.
Excellent. So how do you find inspiration for the books that you write? Do you plan ahead of time for these experiences, or do you go and have these great experiences and then retrospectively think, oh gosh, that would make a great book, I need to write about it?
Well, I'm a doer. I take all kinds of workshops, including Toastmasters since 1998. And I choose those workshops to help me personally. And then I journal about them. And then I get editorial help to transfer those journals into chapters.
Excellent. That's fantastic. And what do you hope that others will get from this book?
The need to be still more often. The need to not self-judge and self-criticize, to let thoughts come to your consciousness and then whisk them away. Want them to just disappear. And if a thought is negative and it comes to consciousness, you just float it away. And you literally visualize floating it away.
And how does that experience, what is that like? Give us an example of how you would float away.
I float away mentally a concept. Like I could have thought, like, I'm moving next Tuesday. I get the keys to my new place, and I'm Toastmaster, and I'm going to be interviewed. And so I just said, okay, I can do this, and it will be good, even very good, and I let it go. And then I go to the next best thought, which is, look at the beautiful colored banners on the wall. Look for the next best thing if you have negative thoughts. Yeah.
Excellent. That's very helpful. So when you're writing, do you feel that writing really energizes you, or do you find that is it really just a...
Writing is never difficult for me. It helps me clarify the places that I'm in. And writing does that for everybody. I'm a big advocate of journaling and examining your journal for patterns. Yeah. So
So you go through and you look for patterns, and that's how you develop the concepts for your books.
I did.
Excellent.
I did.
Great. Okay, so when you published your first book, how did that process of going through and writing and publishing this book, how did that change what you did for writing the next books?
I got a lot of feedback. I was in a writers group at the Carmel Thunderbird Bookshop, and we critiqued each other. And so I totally believe in critique books, to do that.
Excellent, that sounds like a great way to work and to be
Yeah.
creative. And get
So, and I'm still in critique books today, and I've saved all the paper from the pieces, and I'm about to move on and leave behind a lot of that paper for recycling.
Nice,
Yeah.
excellent. And I hear that you have 2 new books out. We're supposed to stay tuned for In Search of a Significant Equal, about looking for love and God in all the right places, and A Significant Equal Found, Keys to Maintaining a Passionate Life, Passion-Laden Life.
That is
And
right.
thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to when these books come out, and we can't wait to have you back to talk about them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests,
See if
but
this,
especially Monique. Monique was speaking to us today as a host of a television show. That is to be noted. That is why she was not up moving around or using a lot of big gestures, something she did with excellence. It's easy for us as Toastmasters to get into the Kyle could do all this stuff, Monique could do this, we're walking all over the place, but not when you're the host of a television show. You have to have everything you've got, from your voice and small gestures and making contact with the audience. That she did perfectly and beautifully. She started off with a stellar and meddlesome applause for her guest. She told us everything we needed to know about the person we were about to hear from, because mind you, she's looking straight at us because you don't see Pat yet, if this was a television camera. She did that just spot on perfectly. Then she asked open-ended questions of her guest, questions that the guest could easily respond to due to the fact that Monique had checked and double-checked what it was she was talking about. She knew about the sex things, she knew about the professional authorship, she knew about the meetings she'd been to, she knew those things. So those were things that the guest could easily respond to, which made no hesitation or the guest looking slightly foolish, which is wonderful. The only thing I caught was after that first perfection of looking at the camera, she completely forgot about the audience. So you separated yourself from us. Didn't think I caught it, but I did. So that also drew the guest into not looking at the camera. So when the host is busy going, the guest feels compelled to do the very same thing. That would be the only thing I really saw, except for at the very end, and again, the organization that Annette had mentioned on Tom's speech. She organized it with events in the past, current events, and what's coming soon, so that you could anticipate that for the guests. The only thing on that one I would suggest is to perhaps let us know where we would buy the books, to have that underneath to say, please contact Amazon.com and purchase it for Pat, hold the books up, do that kind of thing, so that we would get that better idea. Another perfect, fantastic speech. I look forward to more guesting, hosting, being on TV. Monique, thank you.